Hello and welcome to Drive-In Double Feature Podcast. I'm Nathan,
I'm Ryan.
and this is the podcast where we talk about 2 movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before we get into today's movie, I want to talk to you about our Patreon over at patreon.com/Drive-In Double Feature Podcast. For $5 a month, you get some fun stuff. You get us talking about box office bombs. You get us talking about movie quizzes. We're doing all kinds of things over there just for $5 a month, and you help support the show. But no regular content is locked behind Patreon. But getting into today's movie, this Tuesday, we are talking about crimes of passion. Ryan, how many crimes of passion have you committed in your lifetime?
I mean, just like today, or
Yeah, well, yeah, rough rundown today. How many did you commit?
I mean, some, not much today. But
Yeah, okay,
today's been a slow day.
slow day. I get it. Well, this movie is Crimes of Passion, 1982, directed by Ken Russell. First time Ken Russell comes on here, and it's written by Barry Sandler. We usually don't bring up the writer, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Yeah, so Ken, I guess a better question is about Ken Russell. You've seen a few Ken Russell movies before, right?
Have I?
Have you? I haven't. You've seen Altered States, right?
Oh, of course, yeah. I've seen that. I'm trying to think of anything else I've seen.
He made Tommy. I've
I
never
didn't
seen
see
that one.
Tommy. I've never seen Tommy. I think that's the Ken Russell
Just
movie
Altered
I've seen.
States. This is actually my first Ken Russell movie. So, um, I guess I feel like everywhere I read, this man has an eccentric style. And if you've seen any of his movies, he also made The Devils. Very
The hockey
avant-garde.
team?
Yeah, I didn't know you're a hockey fan.
Yeah, the famous Ken Russell made the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, he paid for it. Yeah, that's what I heard from all of his well, Ken Russell actually passed away. He is not with us anymore, so I can't say that. But Ken Russell, weirdo, made a movie called Crimes of Passion. I love in the same breath I say he's dead and then I call him a weirdo. Um Crimes of Passion,
Kind of, yeah.
I knew nothing about. I don't know if you want to present first how this movie is connected to you.
Well, yeah. So the only reason I even knew about this movie in the first place is because I've seen the poster for this movie
Same here.
multiple, many times a day because
Mm-hmm.
um, I I graduated from UCF
You're
and
doxing yourself.
I did. I doxed myself just a little bit, and
Mm.
one of the I took a lot of the film history class, film studies classes. And one of the professors over at UCF is the screenwriter, Barry Sadler.
Mm.
And I did have the pleasure of taking at least one class with him where he
Mm-hmm.
was my professor. And it was a Marilyn Monroe, Elizabeth Taylor class.
What?
Yeah, we just watched Marilyn Monroe and Elizabeth Taylor movies.
Okay. Was
You
it a
got
good
me.
class?
Yeah, I mean, we get to watch some movies. I mean,
Yeah, that is pretty good.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I did learn a lot in my cinema studies class, but the whole point was like I get to watch movies for a class. Like, sign me up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was the same way. The worst part was it's all film classes there because I also graduated from UCF. All film classes were
Brag
about
about it.
yeah, were about 2 hours 59 minutes, and then there were some film classes I took that did not. Well, we didn't watch any movies, and we sat there the whole time, and that was always a pretty awful experience.
I always had the 3 hour class.
Yeah, it was the worst. But I actually never had a class with him teaching. I just only heard of him. And I heard about this movie because every time I walked, I know that same classroom, there's that
Yeah,
poster of Crimes of Passion on the wall. And I always looked at it. And I was like, why is this hanging up in here? Like, what is like out of all the movies, this one? Um, so this movie got released by Arrow, and I saw the cover. I was like, maybe it's finally time we sit down and watch this one. Um,
yeah.
you know,
It's it. I mean, I've probably known about this movie now for like 15 years or something
yeah,
crazy like that. I've known about it for a while, and He never Barry Sadler never talked about this movie, but I mean, like when I was going to that class, he might as well have been like any other professor, to be honest with you. But I mean,
Mhm.
there was like some professors there that, like, I think one of the editors from As Good as It Gets, she taught a
Yep.
class, and
Yep.
a couple other notable, like I think another screenwriter maybe like did one, like a guy that made short films or something like that. He was a little ridiculous, but anyway, um, the he never really mentioned Crimes of Passion, and honestly, like I didn't know what to expect walking into it. Like when I was going for it, I was like, probably like very 80s
Hmm.
film noir, maybe something like that. A lot of neon, that type of thing. That's what I was kind of expecting,
Yeah.
like beforehand. And just so you know, too, like I even so I googled Barry Sadler, and it still has his faculty page on there, and it
Really.
even yeah, and he still teaches there, or at least it's still on the
Hmm.
school's website, and it even says like in his profile, like recently your arrow reached out to Barry Sadler and filmed a documentary for the Crimes of Passion.
Yeah, that's what's so interesting. If I, when I first got this and I looked at the back cover of it and to see that name, like he's in like multiple of these documentaries because he's probably easy to get in contact with.
Yeah, I'm imagining he probably wasn't too shy to talk about it. So
No.
I did watch a little bit because he does have like his own solo like and like sit down interview where he talks about his career, and he also does a audio commentary as well on the Blu-ray, which I didn't get a chance to listen to, just full disclosure, but I did watch a little bit of his documentary, and he started out like as a 19-year-old film student, and one of his first things was he got to write a screenplay for Raquel Welch.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. He's not teaching a class on Raquel Welch.
I, for all I know, he probably has.
Probably. But no, I mean that's really cool. And I mean, like looking at his career as a writer, it looks like he did a lot. He was trying to push boundaries, especially with this script, reading this script. My big thing watching this movie, I seriously was like, holy crap, this was made in the early 80s. We watch these movies, these exploitation movies, and I mean, just as a warning for all the listeners, this movie is filthy. It is a filthy sex movie, and it's really pushing boundaries, and I'm like, god, this is still like even pushing like some buttons that like movies don't even do today.
Yeah, I mean it's probably the closest we've done to a porno.
Yeah, exactly, that's what it feels like, softcore porn in a way, but it's not. I won't say it is, but it's definitely pushing the boundaries. I mean, it's got actual celebrities in it. It has Kathleen Turner, Anthony Perkins, Bruce Davison's in it, if you want to call him a celebrity. Uh,
Oh, he's a celebrity on this podcast.
yes, he is. You gotta love Bruce, and even in his bit parts.
He
Um,
doesn't do anything in this movie.
no, I was like, and he's the first person you see in this movie too. Because the beginning of this movie is like, what is it, marriage counseling?
Is it that, or is it just? I don't know if it's marriage counseling or if it's just like a therapy group or something.
Yeah, and
Cause
I don't know.
I don't know, because well, none of the wives are there, but
Yeah, that's true.
but he, yeah, the main character, he just, he tries like, oh yeah, everything's perfect, everything's great, like nothing, there's no problems whatsoever, and then as soon as like one of the other people start probing him with questions, he's just
Mhm.
like, then he kind of just blows up on her, like,
Yeah, no, he gets angry. He's like, "Oh God, I haven't had sex with my wife, and it's so hard to do it." Just like complains, like he's just like a lit fuse, and that's this man's like through like that's him for the rest of the movie. I don't know how you felt about this character Bobby, played by John Laughlin. I did not like this guy at all. He was
he's
so
a
annoying.
he's annoying, he's kind of a creep.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I mean, not as creepy as the other. I mean, like the fact that he's not like a total like psycho is like he's like the nicest guy in like in this world of the movie,
Yeah, he's like the good
but
guy.
he's very much like always needs sexual gratification. Like his wife is clearly not into having sex like he is, and it's just like,
Mhm.
it's like, but I need it, like I gotta have it type
Mhm.
of thing. And I don't know, it's just very grating. And then he always has to be like a goofball, and there's some like really goofy scenes like later in the movie that I
Yeah.
was like why is this even in the movie? Like,
Yeah, see, that's my thing with this movie. There are times where I like it. I like some of the visuals and stuff, but then like there's times where I really don't like this movie. Like it never matches like a complete like it's almost like it doesn't know what it wants to do. And it kind of has, I don't know if you felt this way. It has no plot. There's kind of a plot, but it doesn't really do anything. Like it's very just kind of weird scenes patched together.
yeah, but to me there's not enough of a thread to like
Yeah.
present. And I mean there's kind of a plot, but
Hmm.
it's not really. I don't know. I really wasn't a fan of the structure of this movie, and
No.
I was wanting something with a little more meat. But to me, this movie was just more like, we can show, like, we're gonna go there type of thing. Like,
Yeah, exactly. It's so funny. I had to explain to my fiance what this movie was about. And Kathleen Turner was on screen when she came in, and I was like, "Well, you know,
I swear
she's a
it's a movie.
no." Well, I said she's a fashion designer by day, but a prostitute by night. And it's just like, what is this movie I'm talking about? Kathleen Turner and Anthony Perkins, I will say, are the better parts of this movie, just because I feel like they're taking in the more over the top angle, especially Anthony Perkins. I mentioned on the show before, I love Anthony Perkins, and he's going above and beyond as a horny priest in this.
So let me ask you: is this movie a comedy?
I think so. It's so over the top that I don't think it can be. Like it can be anything else, right?
Because, well, I mean, IMDb does not list this as a comedy.
Really?
It's a drama romance thriller. And
No.
I,
No.
like, so I that's what I'm struggling with. I'm like, if they're trying to be funny and over the top, I get it. I mean, there's some parts it's like, I don't know. I don't know if they're trying to be serious or not. Like, it's like, because they underlay it with some like really heavy stuff too that happens in the movie, where I'm
It's
just
true.
like, I like, I don't like, I feel like they're not trying to be serious, but at the same time, this is just not really aligning with me with some of the stuff they do later.
Yeah, it feels like a hodgepodge of like different ideas and things, because at times it's just kind of it's silly, it makes you laugh, but then in its ending, which we'll get to later, I think the ending plays it really seriously. I
It
mean,
does. The ending's super serious, I feel like.
yeah, it's weird because I guess when I think about it, because Anthony Perkins has a bag of sex toys, and one of them is a killer vibrator, like it can kill people, and that sounds like something straight out of a comedy. But then I think about Seven, which had killer sex toys, and that was in the comedy. So I don't know, maybe they weren't really pushing it.
Yeah. I,
I don't know. It, it's so over the top though. Like, think about the music in this movie. Like, the music is absolutely nuts, insane, like hard synth, just it is the cheesiest music ever. The visual style is so pastel, and everything looks like a set. Like the place where she takes everybody to sleep with them looks like a set, like more than ever. It seems like this weird, seems like
it
a
looks like,
play.
yeah, let's say it looks like they're on a stage.
Yeah, and I don't know. It seems like something that's way too over the top to be a drama. I don't know, but maybe it just doesn't know what it is.
And some of the lines in this movie, like we can't even like repeat like half of the lines in this movie. Like,
No,
it's filthy, it's awful. And
yeah.
I'm just like,
I'm
and I
sorry I picked a hard movie to talk about. I didn't know it was gonna be this crazy.
no, I get it, but it's just like
Oh man.
there's so many. Okay, so I'm going to repeat one line just to give you an idea. Just like uh, Kathleen Turner and is trying to shoo Bobby away,
Hmm.
and she says, "If you think you're going to get in my panties, forget it. There's only one asshole in there already." But
And she talks.
but
This is how she talks through the whole movie. This is like her dialogue.
but it's just like that like string of filthy dialogue, and it's just like like it's so ridiculous, and I'm like, I don't know if they're trying to just be edgy or is it trying to be funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to take it either. God, yeah, Kathleen Turner is just going off this whole movie. Her character's name is China Blue, CB for short. That's what that's what Anthony Perkins kept calling her.
I was just gonna say the movie automatically like starts right away of like letting you know like what this movie is all about.
Hmm.
I mean immediately it's like a scene of like just like these guys like in a room like watching a woman, you know,
Yeah, through peepholes.
through peepholes, and they're,
Mhm.
you know, enjoying themselves, and like throwing tissues on the floor. It's like it's disgusting. And then
Yeah,
immediately it's after that it's Kathleen Turner having this like really long like scene where she's talking about this guy's member, and it's just like
yeah,
it,
and
it just goes on and on and on.
yeah, and there's like this one really gross scene. I won't go too deep into it, but Kathleen Turner's getting chased in the streets, and you think someone bad is chasing after her, but come to find out it was all a game that this guy likes chasing after her and all of that. And it's like, what what are you trying to prove here? I mean, I get it. Kathleen Turner kind of goes into it later. She's just like, I get to live a different life. It's a different me. I get to be who I want out there. Um, I just think it's so wild that she can do both and not be so tired during the day.
Oh yeah, like well, I mean, it's very clear too. Like you know, she's has multiple partners and everything like that. So it just
Hmm.
does. I don't know how she was able to have like do this alternate lifestyle for so long.
Hmm.
And like you said too, she just every night just goes out and does this whole thing, like so much so that she's known on the streets as
Oh yeah.
China Blue.
Actually, one of the funnier scenes is whenever a rich couple pick her up and they're like licking her ear, and and the one's like, don't the woman is like, don't do that. You don't know what kind of diseases these people carry. And she gets angry and she runs out. But like, I mean, she might not have been wrong. I don't think you should be going around licking people's ears.
Yeah, definitely be. You know what, everyone, be safe.
But yeah, you know what? In the end of the day, that is probably the best thing you could say. Is just be safe. Um, it,
But I don't know. It just I, where do you even go talking about? Like, I mean,
I
because
mean, we
I mean, we could talk about the Bobby character. You know, he's in a loveless marriage.
he's in a loveless marriage, and you kind of learn like just that his wife doesn't really want much to do with him in bed, and then they do break up, and that's how he gets his through line. He's like a private eye, right? Is that because at first they make it look like he works at a hardware store, and then he's getting asked to like investigate people. This is a
Well,
weird.
yeah, it's like corporate espionage is what he's doing, and
Yeah.
like he's pretending to. Yeah, I'm not really sure exactly what his occupation is, but he was supposed to figure out where these fabrics or whatever were being stolen or being used,
Yeah.
and the owner of the company suspects that it's China Blue, but her real name is Joanna Crane.
Hmm.
And he's like, you need to follow her and see what's up. And
Yeah.
Bobby does follow her, and he's able to see the type of life that she leads at night.
Yeah, and so he slowly becomes interested in her. And you know what? This his wife could do so much better. Because like there's that really bad scene where they're at the party, and I hated this scene because he's like, "Oh, can I do the magic trick? Can I do the magic trick?" And all it is, there's no better way to put this. He does an act called the human penis, and I'm not going to describe what he does in front of a group of people, but it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen, and I can't believe that they who Ken Russell Barry, why did you write this, and why did you put this in the movie?
I hated it. I
Me
hated
too.
that scene.
Me too. I
It
really
just
hated.
and it's like, and there's the other scene too where I'm like, well, who would marry this guy? Because he would remember he was like he was at like the grill's like, hey guys, get it while it's hot, and it's just like his hot like a hot dog is hanging out of his pants, and just I'm just like, who, like I would be exhausted dealing with somebody like this, and just like
Yeah.
I would totally just be like, can you not be serious for 5 seconds? And
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. I don't know. It just like I don't wouldn't want this guy as a friend, but as soon as he cuts it off, he goes right to China Blue, and they sleep with each other. And I guess it's so amazing that they want a relationship together. But what's so funny about this dynamic is later in the movie, his wife is like, "Hey, I miss you. I need someone at home. Can you come back?" And he's just this. It's almost like the same day he tells like China Blue, like, "Oh, I'm gonna stay here. Let's live together." He's like, "No, my wife came. I gotta go see what's going on there. I can't leave her behind." After she's like, Kathleen Turner's like telling him like, I have problem with trust issues and all that. He's very
yeah,
fast to leave.
yeah, he's basically just like, hey, I want to be with you since my wife is not with me anymore. And
Mhm.
then this first time his wife is like showing some type of interest, he's like, well, now I got to go see what's up, type of thing. And but I mean, it's clear when he goes back and he spends uh an evening with dinner with her. It's
Mhm.
there's no magic left there. But it's very clear like the married couple doesn't have like they don't have like anything in common
No.
whatsoever. I mean, she's very serious, straight laced, doesn't care that much about maybe a prude or whatever. I don't know. It's
Mhm.
just not that important to her for sex, and he's just like constantly flirting with her and like trying to talk about sex, and she's just like, I'm not interested in having this discussion type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was gonna ask you though, are they trying to frame? I got the impression they were trying to frame his wife as like a villain character. Like
I
it's her fault that it's not his fault.
that I think so. I think especially with the ending line and everything. I think they do frame her as like a bad guy. Because I mean, I think in like a normal movie, you would just maybe frame it as they weren't a good match for each other. Maybe they got married young and then things kind of fizzled out. That's what they would normally do in a movie. But here, they really paint her as super, super cold, like really cold and mean. And it's like, I had problems sympathizing with John Laughlin though. It just seemed like a bad marriage. That's all.
Yeah, well, because they try to make like she's because I mean the impression I was reading into it like is that like she's been in this marriage, she's just been unhappy for a really long time, and
Yeah.
she's just kind of over the whole thing. Like
Mhm.
she's not even interested in trying anymore. And
Mm.
but then like John Laughlin's character, they're like, but I love you so much. The whole reason why I want to have sex with you is because I want to be with the woman I love, which is just like total manipulation. I feel like,
Exactly. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Let
like
me
just total,
convince you.
like let me try to manipulate your feelings and that
Hmm.
like emotionally blackmail you with sex, pretty much.
Hmm.
Like, hey, if you don't have sex with me, that means you don't love me, type of thing.
Exactly. And it's yeah, I just thought that whole bit was kind of icky, and even the whole part where they fall in love with each other, and then you have this whole subplot with this priest going after China Blue the whole time, who has like murderous tendencies. It's hard to talk about his plot line too because everything around this man is obsessed with sex. That's like the whole deal. He can't stop thinking about it. And I think he wants to stop thinking about it, but it just eggs at him the entire time. Um, and that kind of comes to a head because he's obsessed with China Blue, and he like kidnaps her and plans on killing her. That's our final scene in this one.
Yeah, well, there's multiple scenes leading up to that. It'd
Yeah.
be her, Kathleen Turner, and Anthony Perkins are kind of going at it literally sometimes. I mean,
Yes, yeah.
and it's very much like a power dynamic. Like he tries to like, oh, I'm trying to save you, but it's just
Mhm.
him trying to think of like these BS reasons to like to keep going to see her and stuff, and she keeps indulging these feelings, and they kind of have like this back and forth where she's disgusted with him and he's disgusted with her, like calling her a whore, and
Yep.
him like a pervert type of thing. So
Hmm.
it's it leads up to the like it comes to a head finally, like you said, where he does stalk her and finds out where she lives and kidnaps her in her own home.
Yes, yeah. As her fashion designer self, Joanna Crane. But don't worry, our hero is there to save the day. Bobby saves the day. But I guess the reveal is kind of interesting, where Anthony Perkins makes them swap clothes. So he's dressed as China Blue, and she's dressed as a priest. Um, so you kind of get this reveal. It's almost like a psycho reveal of, oh look, he's wearing women's clothing at the end.
And her last name is Crane.
Exactly. So look at that. Sadler loves him some classic films, and I guess Ken Russell does too. Um, what a and then the last part of this movie, I hated the last line of this movie. The more and more we talk about this movie, I think the less and less I like it. Because there are things to like. I like the visuals, like the colors and all that, but man, that last line, I won't repeat it, but it's pretty much like, yeah, I left my wife. I'm sleeping with a prostitute now, and it's the best thing ever. It's so awesome. And then that's how the movie ends.
Yeah, it's pretty much I because I actually started to like the final scene a little bit, like at first, because he does go back to that therapy or that anonymous group or whatever you want to call it, and
Yeah.
group therapy, and he's just like, yeah, you guys are right. I was just too afraid to admit that there was a problem. And
Mm-hmm.
at first he's like, I'm dating this woman now. Like, we seem to have we don't really have much in common. I don't know if it's going to work out, type of thing. So it's kind of like like it like treating it like a real relationship, but then it's like, but we screw our brains out, like type of thing. And then just like, like
Yep. Ends on
total,
that.
total, just like I don't care anymore. Like,
Exactly. This character didn't learn anything. And I mean, that's interesting that IMDb listed as a drama. And I wonder if we were even to talk to Ken Russell now, if he were still alive, what he would even say about this movie. This movie just seems like an all over the place. It's a movie meant to push buttons. I really think so. It's a movie just made to push buttons, push taboos, especially in the 80s, because it was originally made as an X rating. A lot was cut out to get it down to an R, so it was even more in your face than
yeah.
anything.
And and there's two versions of this movie on the Arrow. I only watched
Gotcha.
one, but there's an unrated version and a director's cut.
Gotcha. Which one did you watch?
I watched the unrated version.
Gotcha. Okay. So you probably, because I watched the version on Criterion Channel, and actually don't know which version that is. So
I don't know. Wait, we'll never know.
yeah, we'll never know until I watch it again, which who knows when I will.
Might be tomorrow.
I, who knows? It might be next week for next episode. We can just talk about it again. Really dig into this one.
Yeah, it's gonna be a
Yeah.
minute before I talk
The,
about this one
the,
again.
the look on your face when I said that, I wish the listeners could see it. But let's go ahead and put a wrap on this one. I don't really recommend this one. If you're looking for an erotic thriller from the 80s, you can do so much better than this.
Yeah, I can't in good consciousness recommend this one. I mean, it's really filthy, and even if that still doesn't bother you, I can't even say it's a good story. So
No.
I I I personally don't recommend it. I didn't like it overall. It's not like so awful, like I was having like it was torturous to sit through, but at the same time it's like, will I watch this again? I don't know if I will.
No. Probably not. This movie will sit in the
But
back.
good thing we have it on a physical copy, though.
Yeah, so we can have it forever to remind us that we won't be watching it again. Yeah, but Ryan, I think that ends it for today. What are we going to be covering on Thursday?
Well, Nathan, we're going to be talking about 1992's The Public Eye. And that is available for free on the Roku channel.
All right. Well, I'm excited to watch that one. If you want to email us, go ahead and email us at drivingdoublefuturepodcast@gmail.com. Just email us anything, if you like the show. If you hate the show,
send some fan art.
Yeah, fan art. I would love some fan art. Also, you can tweet it at us at DIDFpod. But until next time.
Until next time.